Hey everybody, just waiting for Linda to log on. She should be with us in a moment or two. And just wanted to remind everybody who isn't already aware, feel free to join the Facebook group that we've got restarted on Facebook. The
To
Pivot
log
Pals
on.
group.
She should be with us in a moment or
Whoops, gotta
two.
turn that off.
And
Um, the Pivot Pals group is starting to pick up some steam again. So just do a search on Facebook for Law of Attraction Pivot Pals, and you'll be able to find the group that way. And come in and share the things that you are trying to manifest in your life, because that's what it is. It's a support group for people who are trying to manifest things. We basically encourage people to post a vignette or two about what it is they're trying to attract, create a little scene, like a little mental scene that you're a part of, and what you're experiencing in that scene. And then everybody else chimes in and says, "Yeah, all right, it's gonna come. Here we come." Give you a lot of support. So feel free to join the Law of Attraction Pivot Pal group, and you know, join in, have fun, because that's what it's for. It's for feeling good and getting the kind of support that we all need to attract what we need in our lives. So, hi there, Jeffrey. Hi there, Nasha. And here comes Linda. I can see her logging in now. There she is.
Can
Hey
you
there,
hear
Linda.
me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes. Sorry
All
about
right.
that.
That's all right. No problem. So we're logged in. I'm going to get the music started and we can be underway.
Okay.
Welcome to LOA Today. I'm Walt Thiessen here with life coach Linda Armstrong. Today is Friday, December the 6th, 2019. It's 4 p.m. New York time. Wherever you are in the world, thanks for joining us for another episode of LOA Today, your daily dose of happy. And we're happy to have gotten started here. We got kind of a late start, but we're here. We're ready. It's Friday. It's the end of the week. And we're experiencing a winter phenomenon, snow on the ground. I don't know how much you got. We got about 10 to 12 inches here. Did you get what we got? No, you didn't get anywhere what we
No,
got. Yeah.
no. Maybe 4 or 5
Four to
tops.
five. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we
It's
got.
mostly melted now.
I can actually see in the window in the
Yeah.
background there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're about two-thirds melted, but there's still a nice layer of white on the ground. So Louise is excited. She always likes the first snow of the year.
Yeah, it's
It
nice.
is. It prettifies things, right? It
Yeah.
makes things everything look really, really nice. So. Um, don't really have a definite topic in mind, but as usual, that usually emerges as we're talking, so we can just get going, just talk
Okay.
about what we talk about. I see we have a few live streamers who are tuned in. Hello, guys, and hope you guys are also getting ready for an exciting weekend. I was reminding everybody before the podcast to join the Law of Attraction Pivot Pal group on Facebook for those who want some support in what they're trying to manifest. And Jeffrey was saying he had revisited all his vignettes again today. So congratulations, Jeffrey. We love that kind of response. And what's happening in your neck of the woods over there in New York, Linda? Anything
Um,
really interesting?
well, a little bit of a busy week. I have my brother-in-law visiting on his way to moving to England.
Oh my.
So we were just out, and that's why I was rushing to get back in time
Yeah,
for the show.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're glad that you did. And wow, England. That's a nice big move. That's
Yeah.
a huge move.
Yeah.
Is
Well,
that
he
for
was
work?
born there.
Oh, he was. Oh, okay.
Yeah. My
Okay.
husband too has dual citizenship, a British citizenship and English,
Okay.
American.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, well, cool. Yeah, well, then it's sort of a homecoming for him. That's good.
Yeah.
That's really good. So I see you got the cards out. That's our Friday activity, pulling out the
You know
cards
what?
and.
I just figured since we don't know what we're going to talk about, I chose this one deck that pretty much gives you a word, and we'll go off the word.
Oh, okay.
But you said there were a few people on the YouTube live stream. Maybe they
Yeah.
have some questions or something, that's been on their mind.
Jeffrey and Nasha have both logged in and said hello, and they haven't really posted anything about anything going on in their lives, but they look like they're ready. They're congratulating each other on posting their vignettes.
I actually joined the page, but I haven't had a chance to look at it
Oh, okay.
to see
It's
what it's
good.
all about.
People, especially Jeffrey, but people are really, really very creative at the way that they put their vignettes together. You know, with the little scenes that they imagine, the detail level is phenomenal. Really, really good. I mean, you can get a sense of just how advanced most of our listenership is just by seeing what people are posting on that page.
Oh,
And
cool.
it's fun. It's uplifting just to be there to see what people are trying to do, because it's not like you know, there are so many of these groups where it's people giving other people advice, right? And you know, oh, please give me some help on this and help on that. And this group isn't like that. It's just, here's what we're doing, and everybody's saying, great, go for it. All right. It's just a very positive, supportive group.
And what's interesting is, as you say that, I've got be decisive. So you were saying that everybody's very descriptive about what it is that they're asking for.
There it is.
So
Yeah.
that's pretty good confirmation on that.
I would say so. As usual, you draw the card. That's exactly what we're talking about. I'll be curious to
Yeah.
see what the actual description is of it, but
Well, but I would say not to try to lock it in too much, because then you're limiting yourself from the unlimited ways and the possibilities that could be even better than you expect, right?
oh sure, yeah,
So maybe be decisive, like knowing, like, what it is, where you're going towards, maybe throwing some detail in there. I haven't been to the page, so I don't really know what's going on. But I like to leave things open
mm-hmm.
for, whatever however the universe wants to answer my
Yeah,
request.
that's fine. I mean, what I usually recommend is just make it a little tiny short scene. I mean, these people are turning it into some really developed scenes, which is great. It's fine, but my whole purpose is just to encourage people to be clear, to be really clear about what it is that they like and what it
Yeah.
is that they want. Because clarity, of course, is a high vibration place. So if you're being
Right.
clear, you're in that good place to start, you know,
And so
receiving what it is that you're looking for.
maybe some of that clarity really is more in the feeling sense.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah,
Like, I mean, that's the Neville thing, right?
right.
You want to just feel it. We don't have to
Exactly.
know the exact details. We know what it feels like.
Yeah, Neville's when he talked about the things. Cindy and I were the ones who kind of coined the phrase vignette and the word vignette. And when Neville talked about his vignettes were as simple as, I'm shaking hands with the person who gave me what I wanted. That's it. That's the whole
Yeah.
vignette right there. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So yeah, to me, this, when you put the details in, it's just kind of making that vignette real. The more
Yeah.
real you can make it, the more you feel it. You know, assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, as you pointed
Right.
out, that's the Neville saying.
But even
Yeah,
as you said, I'm shaking hands, like you can feel the excitement with that,
yeah,
It's
absolutely.
like that.
That's
Yeah.
what's so cool about it. If you pick the right little description of what's going on, you can feel it pretty quickly. That's what's so cool about it. So.
Well, I did a December energy update, which I just put out. I think it was yesterday or the day before.
Mm-hmm.
And that really was all about, um, one of the cards was emerging, like new things coming. So like really it's a perfect time,
Oh,
because it's the way I'm feeling it is we're emerging into a new us, a new you for this new
sure.
year. I mean, we're in the last month of 2019 going
That's
into
right.
2020.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was pretty cool. And
In
yeah.
fact, 2019 leading into 2020, I've been thinking about this off and on for a while. I'm not really big into numerology, but for me, 2020, that's a cool year, because 2020 also is the phrase we use to describe clear vision. And it
Hmm.
just occurs to me, we're entering a year that, at least numerically, says this is going to be a year of clarity. And I like that idea. I like the idea of, you know, everybody being in a more clear place, because that means so much more abundance is going to come into people's lives.
Right. Or where things come together, because a few months back, that's what it was all about too, is really setting up the 2020, the next year coming, by what was going on over these past few months,
Mm-hmm.
that we can't exactly see for sure what that is,
But
but
we will soon.
it's nice to hold the energy of it, that there's something wonderful coming,
Yeah.
something marvelous coming, right?
Something marvelous is happening for me now. That's right.
Okay, so we have seventh chakra,
Ooh, what a pretty card.
Archangel Uriel.
Okay. The seventh chakra.
So, that's the crown. Seventh
Right on
chakra.
top
So
of the head.
let's take a
Okay.
look and see what the card actually tells us. And we got it in the upright position. So
Well,
let's see.
if it's the crown of the head, maybe they're going to blow our minds. That's what it is.
Actually, I don't know what I did with my glasses, but that's okay. I'll have to wing it.
That's all right.
I'll make up words if I can't read them.
I love it.
All right. Oh, spirit connections, intuition, and inspiration. That
Mm-hmm.
was another part of the reading, was being able to be open to the inspiration that wants to come.
Mm-hmm.
Because I started talking a little bit about access consciousness, where really a lot of that in the access bars, I think I told you I started doing that work,
Right.
is really just asking questions of the universe without knowing the answer. You just keep asking the questions because the
Mm-hmm.
universe will answer for us,
Mm-hmm.
and getting out of our head thinking that we know
Mm-hmm.
how to bring about that answer. And again, that's when you limit yourself, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so it says this beautiful angel Uriel, also called Fire of God, wears a brilliant crystal crown vibrating with a passionate connection to the divine. Okay, so
Mm.
this is that chakra.
Okay.
It brings great power to your seventh energy center, which is called the crown chakra and is located at the top of your head. This card upright indicates an open and free flowing channel of information and inspiration from the wonderful beings in the spirit world.
Ah, nice.
This could also be a time of great intuition for you and guidance from your higher awareness. So allow yourself to be quiet in your mind and listen.
Mm.
That was cool too, because another card I pulled in that reading had to do with just being with your breath. That's
Mm-hmm.
just being
Yes.
here, present, right? Because then you're not trying to control anything. You're just being. And when you're that open and you allow yourself to expand into being, because we are much bigger than just this body that we happen to be in,
Right.
um, it opens you up to connect to so many more possibilities, right?
And that's cool. That's really cool because when we're doing that, that means we're really aware of all of who we are, which is a nice improvement. I mean, I know speaking for myself, I've gone through most of my life just feeling like all that there was to me was just what was inside the body.
Right.
And partly through talking with you and also through talking with some of my other co hosts, I'm finding now that I'm actually feeling that larger me around me, which I think is cool. I mean, there was a time where I didn't think that was going to happen, and
You
now
know,
I'm actually experiencing it.
so let's just do, before we even finish reading this card, like if everybody were just to close their eyes
Okay.
and just feel themselves as energy beyond their body,
Mm.
and feel like your energy, like how far out it expands,
Yeah.
right? Much further than just this flesh and bones, right? And you're feeling this expanding out, and kind of feel where you think that that might sort of stop, and then allow yourself to expand that even
Mm.
further. Because you see, it's this is how you realize you're an unlimited being. Because right now, as you do this with your eyes closed, without having to see anything, but just feel your energy expanding and expanding and expanding, well, it can just go on forever. It doesn't have to end anywhere,
True.
right?
That's
Yeah.
true.
And
Yeah.
especially like when you get into a nice meditation where you're really feeling that expansion. I mean, you literally, at least it is for me, I can't speak for everybody.
Sure.
I don't know where I begin and end. I have no more awareness. I know my body's here, but it's like I can't even feel it. It's way beyond that,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? So
Yeah, I know what you mean, and I like the way you were describing how you reach out to how far you can feel that it goes, and then you reach farther than that. And as
yeah,
soon as you said that, all of a sudden I was reaching farther. I
yeah,
mean, there no effort, no
yeah,
effort at all. It just like bang, all of a sudden,
right.
instantly, which is
And
cool.
again, that's just showing awareness, right? So how
Yeah.
aware do we want to be? Let's just keep let's just keep going.
Mm-hmm. It's
All of a
true. It's
sudden,
true.
Walt and I were bumping our energies. He's over there in Connecticut, I'm in New York. I'm like, hey, let's go down to California. How about if we go all the way over to Australia and
Well,
to the universe and beyond? I mean, really, you can play with it.
well, Jeffrey's out in Oregon, so we can crisscross the country,
Okay,
and Nash
let's
is
do it.
over, I believe, in the Middle East, so we can reach over that way.
Let's do
So
it.
yeah.
All right. So the rest of this card, anyway, says now is a great time to get connected. The assistance from spirit is great, and whether it's the presence of an ascended master, a powerful angel like Uriel, or just a loving friend or family member in spirit, their love and willingness to assist is always there. They even open you up to the Akashic records or Alaya consciousness, the storehouse of all information. This connection is open now, and you will find that your own spirit and the spirits of those around you will be able to provide the answers you seek and the blessings you desire and deserve. which is really cool. And that to me also is like, just put the questions out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever
Yeah.
that question might be. Like, how do I actually grow my business over this next 6 months and double my
Mm-hmm.
income? We don't have to figure it out. We just ask the universe, how do I do that?
It's
Or what if
interesting
it
you
was
mentioned that.
possible for me to blah, blah, blah? Or,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is.
It's interesting that you mentioned that because I realized just now as you were saying that that's precisely what I was doing the last couple of days without pre-planning it, without saying, well, I'm going to start doing this as an exercise to see what answers I can get back. It was more just a little speculation about what could go on, what could happen next with some of the things that I'm working on. Like right now, I'm learning a new software programming platform, new to me anyway. It's relatively new overall, 3 or 4 years old, but I'm learning it and trying to apply it to build some software for Louise's gardening business. Basically, software that does everything from scheduling a new customer to billing and everything in between.
Hmm.
And so I asked myself, and this is a question I've asked myself before, but I hadn't really explored it in quite some time. I just asked myself, so let's say I am successful in building this new platform, and it works out well. How much interest could I find perhaps in other businesses? Other landscaping businesses or gardening businesses or plumbers or electricians or whatever else. Anybody who's doing service businesses. How much could there be out there? And I just did some idle speculation and kind of did some. I like doing Google searches when I do these kinds of things. Doing some Google searches, and all this information started flowing into me, both from Google and internally. And I'm thinking, wow, what's going on here? This is great. It was surprising how much information was coming in.
Right. And so that feeling, which you're feeling again right now, that's
Yeah.
what you want to hold on to.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's it right there. It's like, oh, yeah, okay, let's let this expand
Mm-hmm.
and see where it goes.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
the question, like, how far can this actually go? Where can I take this?
And if it's limitless, that means there's no limit. It just keeps going and going. It's like the Energizer Bunny. It just keeps
Yeah.
going.
Until you're kind of done with that and you want to do something else. You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So let's pick a soul coaching card. They're usually like,
Soul coaching.
yeah, they're usually like one word. Oh, healing.
Oh, I like that. That's
That was a great
you.
card to
You
get.
have no idea how appropriate that is today.
Yeah.
Seriously, seriously. Yeah, I wasn't feeling really good an hour ago, and actually a couple hours ago, and I've been working on feeling better since then, and
So,
literally doing healing. So when you bring that card up, it's like, yep,
okay,
that's
great.
where I'm at.
So you can tell yourself phenomenal healing energy flows through every cell in my body.
Mm,
Yeah.
I'm thinking that right now.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. And healing, like God, healing is for everything. It's not just
Mm.
for the physical, it's for all those judgments you put on yourself. Well, why don't we
Oh
heal that?
yes.
Why don't we lift all of that and free ourselves from those preconceived limitations of how we judge ourselves?
Mm-hmm.
And based on what? Based on someone else's judgment, most likely. So sometimes you just want to ask yourself, well, whether it's some kind of emotional thing going on, like, is this really mine? Or does this belong to somebody else? And then you feel, do I feel lighter when I ask that? And if all of a sudden you feel or you feel like, wow, I just take a deep breath, something felt better, something lifted, like, oh, it wasn't even mine. Okay, let's give it back to the universe. Let's add some consciousness to it, send it back to whoever, wherever it came from. We don't have to know. We just
Mm-hmm.
send it back with consciousness
Mm-hmm.
and let ourselves be free of that.
And sending it back with consciousness, that's also another way of saying sending it back with love, because
Yeah.
love is consciousness and vice versa.
Yeah.
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 That's cool. That's very good.
Um, yeah, that's very cool.
Nasha actually posted a question. It's a little bit vague, but well, she clarified a little bit. She started off by saying, "I'd like to know what it is about the energies," um, and she also mentioned the Pivot Palace page. She visits the page often, hasn't put up any vignettes yet, but she asks about the indigo chakra, and she says you are one with the source when you connect with the crown chakra. So you're more of the chakra expert than I am. I figured I'll let you comment on what she's saying
Well, I
there.
mean, indigo chakra should be talking about your third eye,
Mm-hmm.
which is all about intuition, seeing beyond seeing without the eyes, right? Um, And the crown, of course, is that bridge, that connection to the everything. So what else? What did she say about that?
Just she mentioned that you are one with the source when you connect with the crown chakra. And she was just looking for, I think she's just looking for some general stuff about energies and how they tie into the chakras.
Well, everything is energy. Everything. So that
That,
could kind of be your answer right there.
that pretty much summarizes it right there.
Energy. Everything's made out of energy. Everything holds energy. I mean, even to the point of, did you ever go into like, I don't know, an antique store or some hotel room, but they have this old furniture and you just get this feeling. You're like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, because that furniture is not only holding the energy of what puts it together and makes it look like that form and that shape that we decide is a dresser,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also holding energy of all those people who've come across it before, maybe even the original owners and whatever it was they were holding on to. So everything is energy. That's why you really want to get aware of what's yours. That's perfect that this, however this is coming up, because we were just talking about asking, well, is this my energy? Does
Mm-hmm.
this belong to me, or does it belong to someone else? Most of the stuff belongs to someone else, and you've just taken it on and adopted it, right? You have all these considerations and these ideas of how things are supposed to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
mean, because there's this mass consciousness that a lot of people agree with, things have to happen in a certain way, right?
True. Yeah.
But why? And you know what? And if it doesn't work for you, like, oh, I've always tried to be one of those early risers and it just doesn't work for you, it's not yours. You're trying to fit somebody else's mold, right? So we doing ourselves a big favor. Oh, look, this is the deck I put. Trust your vibes. If you just trusted what it was that felt right for you.
Mm-hmm.
And so the truth will always make you feel lighter, and a
Mm-hmm.
lie will always make you feel heavier.
True.
So
Yep.
you can ask yourself questions about everything that way, even about the food you're going to eat, even about this ice cream that you want. And you're like, okay, and your body has its own consciousness, right? You just happen to live in it. So you ask your body, like this, do you want to eat this ice cream right now? Is it going to feel good or is it going to make you feel heavier? I don't mean weight wise, I mean heavier, energy wise, right?
Yeah, sure.
And I remember I did this not so long ago because I am consciously wanting to lose weight, but I really felt like having some ice cream. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, all right, does my body want this ice cream? Do I need this ice cream? Am I going to feel bad after I eat this ice cream?
It's a good question.
And everything came up with, no, eat the damn ice cream. You want the ice cream? Eat the ice cream. So I ate it and I enjoyed it and I didn't beat myself up for it.
But
So
I've also experienced the other side of that too,
oh,
where where you get the message kind of that no, this is not really a good time for you to have ice cream. You're just not going to react well to it right now.
right. Yeah. Like I know for a long time I had to clear this one. It might still be there a little bit. Um, if I drink soda, I'm going to be fat like my like Grandma Giovanelli. That's my grandmother.
Okay.
if I, my mother told me that. If
Oh, no
you eat
kidding.
that, if you drink drinking that soda, you're going to be fat like Grandma Giovanelli,
So you were picking
right?
that up.
So then I held that to
Yeah.
where if I drink soda, I literally will get fat,
Mm.
like
Mm.
probably instantly. Or like, at least definitely it used to be that way.
Yeah.
I don't really drink soda much anymore. I'm not really drawn to it too much.
I haven't had soda in years. I just,
Yeah.
and partly for this reason, I had never had a real conscious thought about it, but at the time, the most conscious thought I had was, I just really don't like how it feels when I drink it, so I'm just not going to drink it anymore, and so I
So,
don't.
so maybe that's your body was telling you not to,
Probably,
right?
probably. I love what
Um,
you also said about the furniture too, like going into a store, an old furniture store,
yeah.
and I've been experiencing the same thing as Louise and I have been doing some house hunting, and
Ah, I was just gonna say, just like when you
right.
go to buy a house.
Exactly. You walk into a house and that energy is there. You may not be able to put a label on it, but you can feel it, and it's really fascinating to me. If the energy doesn't feel really good, it's almost 100% that Louise is not going to like the house. if the energy feels good, she's going to get excited about the house, and she's going to say it's because of the kitchen, or the way the layout is, or she likes the living room, or she'll come up with something like that. But inevitably, it's tied to how does the energy of the house feel at that particular moment in time. So if
Right.
it's tied into the energy of the people who've been living there, why? I mean, if you're a family who is trying to sell a house and your family's had some really bad energy, you're gonna have a hard time selling that house. You got to turn that energy around.
Yeah. And it's cool that you can feel it for her.
Yeah, I didn't even realize it until you said it. But when you said it, I said, "Well, yeah, I've been doing that all along. I just didn't know it."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's a card, and I'm not sure where it's going to come in. See
Okay.
what it does for you. Mentors and role models.
Ah. Okay. Mentors and role models.
So maybe part of what we're doing here is being those mentors and role models of how you can, if you didn't know it before, sense energy, because you're an energy being. So of course you can sense energy,
Mm.
and you can know what's right or wrong for you just by asking, does this feel right or does this feel wrong? Is this
Mm-hmm.
make me feel lighter? Does this make me feel heavier?
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, another form. I'm thinking about this more now as we're talking about what it's been like walking into some of these houses that we've been checking out. There are at times what I detect as a smell in the house, and I'll ask Louise about it, and she won't be smelling it. And normally she has a stronger sense of smell than I do. And I'm beginning to realize now what I was smelling wasn't so much a smell. It must have been an energy I was picking up.
Like a
Because
being,
otherwise she would have smelled it, and she's not smelling it.
like a being, maybe.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, yes. Usually, it's a not happy smell. It's a unpleasant smell of some kind,
Uh-huh.
and it just makes me wonder what's been the life like in that house.
Right.
What have people been experiencing in that house? Because it sure didn't smell very good.
So then if you tell her, there's something about the smell of this place that doesn't feel right to me, will she be like, okay, let's move on to the next one? Or,
Well, she's usually come up with let's move on to the next one already. It's not usually an issue,
oh,
so
okay.
we move pretty quickly.
I say you're pretty in sync. You're just feeling things in a different way. She may
I
not
think
realize
so.
what she's sensing,
Yeah, that's
um,
true.
even though of course, she's sensing it.
She is,
Yeah.
and she's quite intuitive. But I think for both of us, it's an intuition again that we haven't really consciously noticed a lot. So we have it there, we interact with it, we're in a sense in tune with it. We just don't consciously say, "Oh, yep, there's that energy I'm feeling again."
Right.
So
So let's
that's what's
just
new for me.
read
It's the
this
same
role
here.
models thing and see what it says. Because I'm not feeling any strong hit on this one
Oh,
about.
before you go on to that,
Okay.
Nasha gave us a little more detail. She says, "I would like to ask. The energies these days are intense. What do you have to say about the energies being intense?"
Well, does she mean, is she picking up on the energies like globally? Because, the planet's going through some major changes. And so we're, trying to keep up with it and we can really sense it at times.
Mm-hmm.
Is it specifically just her own? So again, she's going to have to ask, like, what am I picking up on? Is this a collective energy? Is this something going on with the planet? Um, is this something going on within me?
Mm-hmm. It's a good time
Yeah.
to go back to the question you raised earlier. This thing that I'm feeling, is this my energy or is this someone else's energy?
Right.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I could be feeling really light all day, and someone else, next room could be feeling really heavy.
Mm-hmm.
But it's whatever's going on within their own world. So that's why you kind of want to get a read. Like, I don't know how she's asking that. Is she feeling it in a global sense? Like,
Yes, she says, yes, I mean globally, collective energy, she says.
all right. So I'd say that's a good thing because there's some big changes going on, and let we're let's let it all be purged.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, ultimately,
It's not.
there's really no such thing as bad energy. I mean, there's energy. We label sometimes the energy as bad, but there's really no such thing as bad energy. Ultimately, it's energy.
Yeah, and I think all you do is you just put out some love. It's like, okay, I'm really sensing that there's something going on in the collective, so I'll contribute love to that energy and hope that it works its way out in whatever way it's meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because what can you do about it?
Yeah. Well, what you can do about it is exactly that. You can recognize the energy, you can acknowledge it, and you can send it back with even more of your own.
And don't forget, the more you feed negative energy, the more it grows. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're feeling like it's a negative energy, if it's like, could it be an intense really good energy, or is it an intense bad energy because now all of a sudden your attention's on some problem going on in some place in the world?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
then you definitely want to just flood it with love, because by you, I mean, that's why a lot of these causes, this fight against this or this fight against that, it's just prolonging the fight because it's just fueling that the energy.
That's true. Yes.
Yeah.
Very, very true.
And some
And
people get caught up on that.
they
Some
do.
people are really addicted to the drama and can only look for that.
Oh, absolutely.
So you have to,
I was
yeah,
having a conversation with a group of people who were very much into that kind of stuff and kind of challenging them on this exact point, and they were defending their position. They were defending their choice of the negative energy to the hilt. I mean, they were there was no way they were going to get knocked off the point. So, illustrating what you're saying exactly, people go out of their way to protect
right.
this stuff.
And that's the difference between people who are actually really aware and who aren't.
Right.
Because they're just kind of, I don't want to say it, like they're just sheep being herded, like giving all their power to that problem rather than maybe checking in
Mm-hmm.
within themselves and maybe seeing all this other beauty that is everywhere. So
Mm-hmm.
what if there was 90% of everything going on around the planet that's really good or great, and there's only this 10% that's really bad or awful?
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to fuel?
Choice is ours.
Choice is ours. Okay, so let's see what this says. It says, notice how peaceful you become when you're trusting your vibes. Oh, sorry, wrong page. I never started reading this one yet. I thought I was on
Oh.
the second. I
I don't think
thought
we've done that one before.
I was on the second page. Okay. Mentors and role models.
There we go.
It says, if you've heard that being intuitive is a special gift only for a select few, then you've been misinformed. Once you start paying attention to your vibes, you'll see that there are creative, artful, sixth sensory people all over, all around, and they look normal except for one thing: they shine,
Mm,
right? That's like what we're talking about. What are you giving your energy to?
yeah.
Um, if you hesitate to step out of the closet as a sixth sensory person, an intuitive person, look for these mentors to inspire you to navigate the psychic highway with more confidence and ease. Seek out public people who demonstrate that being sixth sensory can indeed be graceful, creative, supportive, and fun. Role models for intuitive living are not hard to find. They're the people who are ethical, humanitarian, and spontaneous. Their auras sparkle, they laugh out loud, and their enthusiasm for life is infectious. They listen, follow their heart, trust their feelings, speak their truth, and act on their instinct without hesitation. And they encourage you to do the same. Ask them what their secret is, and inevitably they'll say, I trust my vibes.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It's
yeah.
funny. Yeah, I mean, what you were describing there is, as you were reading that, I was realizing that very adequately and very well describes the experience I've had in my earliest stages of recognizing that I have this ability, that I have this intuitive quality. And the way that my experience of that has manifested is I can be out most often when I'm doing one of my nature walks, and other people are out on the path, and they pass by me and they give me the big smile as I'm walking by, and I'm not actually focused on trying to reach out to people. They give me this big smile and a big hello, and I'm thinking, what do they see in me? Oh, they must be seeing this energy I'm building up. That's
Right,
essentially what you're talking about there.
right,
It's a little bit of a shock the first few times.
right.
After a while, it's fun, but it's
Okay,
a little bit
so
surprising.
here's a good example. You on your show, you're always talking about things that are uplifting,
Mm-hmm.
ways to empower ourselves.
Yeah,
But you could be complaining about everything wrong in the world. That could be your show.
it could be.
That could be your show.
I actually have done a show like that years ago. I did a show like that.
And did you think you were as shiny as you are now?
Not even close. I mean, I don't even have to take a survey on that one
Yeah, 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 yeah,
because I knew how. I mean, it was so miserable. I literally, I was doing that show on PRN, and we still have many of these shows appearing on PRN, the Progressive Radio Network out of New York. And we still get listeners out of there too. In fact, we just were recently contacted by a listener, which was great. But before I did this show on PRN, I used to do another show, and in fact, I did it with Bill, who was a co-host here as well, and we both agreed it was a really heavy experience to do that show. Until finally, one day came along and I contacted the program director. I said, Jesse, I am just so tired of doing this. Would it be okay with you if I switched over to doing this law of attraction show? That would be so much more fun for me to do. He said, sure, yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
But it took me consciously deciding that I wanted to do something that felt good to me instead of something that didn't feel so good for it to happen.
Right.
I had to make that decision.
Well, I mean, there's talk shows where people are always arguing. Like, who wants
Oh
to
God,
listen
yes.
to that? But there are a lot of people that do because their
Lots of people.
vibration is at that level.
And I've noticed that and talked about that a lot on the podcast lately. How so many people look for the drama. They look for the fights. They look for all that low energy stuff, and they're they're practically addicted to it. And it's an astonishing thing to me now. Now this is something that I've been aware of it all my life, but lately I'm aware of it in this new way, and I think it's because I'm just in a different place,
Yeah.
emotionally and energetically and so forth. But now it's just striking, like, wow, look at all that time people put on all this stuff that is not really enjoyable at all, but they act like they're enjoying it. I
Right.
guess on some level they must be, otherwise they wouldn't keep doing it.
And so that's all just part of the awakening, because once you're awakening, you're looking for how to make things better. What can I
Mm-hmm.
do to empower myself? How can I
Correct.
help other people and lift them up from where they are? We're not
Exactly.
looking to um, put more fuel on the fire, like, and talk about the misery of everything. And God, who wants to spread that energy?
By the way, Nashia followed up. She and Jeffrey have been chatting, and she says, I'm on a very positive track. Um, After a time when I had minuses from some people in my life, from negative friends, but now I'm in a very positive place. So that's a good on you, Nasha, because you learned to pivot. You learned how to pivot away from that stuff that you weren't enjoying, focus on what you did like, and all of a sudden everything started to open up for you. That's fabulous. Way to go, girl.
Well, this is interesting because we're getting the solitude card.
Ah, okay.
So to me, that seems like, going within, right? Trusting within, not looking
That's
at
true.
outside of you. I don't know what the book's going to say, but not looking outside of you for how you ought to be and how you need to show up in the world, right? It's really, we're all unique. And if we would let ourselves just be whatever that uniqueness is, no matter whether it's quirky or what the heck it
Mm-hmm.
is for a purpose, for a reason. We come here this way so that we can express it.
Mm-hmm.
But when you give away your power, like to this collective consciousness that has been squashed for so long that that's all it knows,
Right.
um, you can't allow that you can't allow yourself to be you. So I don't know what the solitude's going to, that's what
But
sparked.
I bet you're on track there. Let's find out.
So, and we did get it upright. So it says, I am comfortable in my own skin as I detach to replenish my soul. Yeah, it's exactly what we're talking about, right?
Yep.
Detaching from that group think or that way that this is how it's supposed to be. You have to follow these steps. And if you didn't do this, you're not successful. And if you don't have that, you're a failure or whatever the hell it might be.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it says meditation is required when you receive the solitude card as a sign. Empty your mind of I can't say this word, sup, superfluous. How do you say it?
Superfluous.
Yes, thank you. Thoughts, uh, and allow stillness to flow through your whole being. This is not an advantageous time to ask questions or push forward in any way. Rather, it's a period for conscious retreat. What's called for now is to step back and take your focus off your life and off of your troubles. You'll be surprised by how things sort themselves out once you've replenished your energy by means of much needed rest and time out. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just disconnecting from all the things that you have been told is supposed to be a certain way or that you're not enough, or you'll never be this, or I
Mm.
mean, how many people, most of us grow up with some part of that in some way,
Oh
from
yeah,
some
and
teachers, some.
then we end up saying it to ourselves, reinforcing it.
Yeah, because we give our power away to those people, right?
Mm.
Think they know better.
Yeah, isn't it interesting to find out that we actually knew it all along?
Yep.
I mean, that's good news. That
Yeah.
now that means we can learn to trust ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a really powerful thing.
Yeah. I'm gonna put one more card. It's from The Answer Is Simple.
While you're drawing and shuffling cards there, in the conversation that Nasha and Jeffrey were having, Nasha says, "I am being guided and getting to know more and more. So it's an amazing awakening for me, and so many people I know. As for me, I feel like I'm expanding. I mean,
Good.
what a better way to describe it? That's great.
Good. Good.
That's fabulous.
She also had some health challenges recently too, which are always, you can just look at that as a whole new beginning, like really releasing some stuff that you don't even know what it is, that just wasn't
Mm.
serving you, to
Mm-hmm.
be now reborn into this new way of being
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
seeing yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. I mean, so often when we're dealing with a health challenge, it it's one of those things that it can almost like seal off the rest of your experience because you're just so focused on the pain or the discomfort or the debilitation or whatever it is that you're experiencing, to the point where you don't even you almost lose touch with that other energy that's around you. I like what you pulled up there. I see the card,
Yeah,
but
maybe it's for Nasha and for her having this recent, illness or whatever.
could
Just like
be.
say thank you.
Say thank you. Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Because a lot of times people don't want to say thank you when something they perceive as bad is happening in their life, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And even when you have the awareness to know that it's good to thank it, sometimes you don't want to go there. It's like, no, sorry, this is not good, right? Because you just can't expand yourself to see beyond it because you don't
Mm.
yet know what's beyond it. But if we can trust that, okay, whatever this is taking me somewhere better. Well, it's your choice. You can decide it's taking you somewhere better, or you can decide it's taking you somewhere worse. And then
That's
you can
true.
let yourself go down that spiral, right?
Yeah, well, that's the
Instead of letting
challenge
yourself go up.
with for instance being sick. That's a challenge with being sick because when you're sick, it feels like all you can see is the downward spiral,
Right.
and
Yeah.
that's not a
Yeah.
comfortable place to be. So you're
So
right.
let
If we can embrace that and in some way see the other side of it, that's how we break through.
let's see what it says.
Okay,
These are little words, so you have to bear with me. I don't have my glasses.
that's all right. Read
Okay.
slowly.
So it says, have you observed just how many people are collaborating for your success at this time?
Mm,
Hmm.
like that.
Suspend your fears long enough to notice. Look up and see those who work tirelessly on your behalf. Recognize their quiet love and service that you so depend on to keep you safe, secure, and grounded. So that's a
Mm,
nice thank you right there, right?
absolutely.
Especially acknowledge those who attract no special attention to themselves, content to simply be of help. It may be a partner or a significant other, parent or a sibling whom you count on, a mentor or a teacher who believes in you, the boss who pushes you to be more creative or effective, or an employee who's on time day in and day out. Your help may come from your children who make you laugh or ask you to be strong for them, a neighbor who brightens your day with a simple smile and a wave, or a friend who spends hours on the phone listening to you complain and sort out your life. These are quiet, supportive people who are your bedrocks. Yet your ego has been too preoccupied with its own concerns for you to say thank you, or even thank you for the simplest of things. To all who serve to make your life better, smile and acknowledge the gifts they bring to you, whether it's the mail carrier who delivers your mail without fail, the young woman at the coffee shop who makes your cappuccino into perfection, or the competitor who stimulates your creativity to a higher level. It's time to recognize those whom you rely on. Notice the quiet grace which with which that they work to make everything easier, leaving you free to have your peace of mind and spirit. Don't take for granted the gifts of others. These spirits, their spirit is gracing yours. So say thank you without hesitation. Well, that's a very nice outlook. I like that because
It's
a lot of
really good.
times you don't think to thank the stuff you kind of take for granted. That's always
Absolutely.
there for you, right?
Yeah. It's so easy to overlook, but you're right. I mean, it's the littlest things, the small things, the everyday things in life that when we acknowledge and recognize and appreciate them, especially the appreciating part, we do two things. First, we build our energy up. Just by doing the act of appreciation does that because it's such a high vibration thing. And secondly, we essentially are saying, okay, for these things I don't like so much, I appreciate the message, but I don't need it anymore, so it can go on its way. And for these other things that I really like a lot, I appreciate them because I want more of them. So we're basically getting that flow going. Flow
Yeah.
the stuff I don't want that direction. Flow the stuff I do want this direction. I mean, it's an extremely powerful way to get things going.
And even like a very simple thing, like the other day I was kind of laying down chilling. I think I wasn't feeling great or something, or maybe I was a little grumpy. I don't even know why. And my dog comes over and he's licking me. He's licking me. He's loving on me, right? And I'm like,
Yeah.
not now. Go away,
I
right?
had that experience today.
But I caught myself and I'm like, ah, he just wants to love me. I'm like, okay, okay, lick
Mm,
me, lick me, lick me. But my first thing was I was annoyed.
yeah.
Yeah. He all he wants to do is give me love, right? Simple little lick on your face or whatever
Well,
it is.
I had that experience with the cats. Both cats came into this little office that I have where I do the podcasting and where I also do my programming work and so forth. And the ostensive reason why they came in was because we had the cleaning people here and they don't like the vacuum cleaners and all that kind of stuff. So they came in because of that. But then I realized fairly soon, like within 10, 15 seconds, that they were also there for a reason. They were there to do exactly the same thing. They were there to love on me to the point where I was reacting in a similar way. I was focusing on my programming stuff, right? And I was like, no, 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 I got to work on this stuff right now. And they're going, meow, meow, meow. They're climbing all over me and so forth. Okay, I get it, I get it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
I'm a little slow sometimes, but I got it.
And isn't that great because they're just bringing you back to the present time, especially when you can acknowledge it, like you did, I did,
Yes,
right?
yeah,
It's like, ah, okay,
yeah,
yeah, this
yeah.
is what matters. I mean, this is what matters.
Pets are wonderful about
Yeah,
that because they, especially dogs. I mean, cats too, but dogs are really well known for no matter what your day is like, no matter what you've gone through, no matter what they've gone through, when they see you, they just get excited. It's
yeah.
like, oh wow, I'm seeing you all over again. My tail's going crazy.
We have two huge dogs, and when we come in, we could be gone. Say all three of us are out, me, my husband, and my son. We can be gone for maybe 10 minutes, and
Right.
come back in, and it's like they haven't seen us in forever.
Right.
And it's like I don't want them to be so crazy when I walk in, but I also don't want to squash that. They're so happy.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
mean, they're like overjoyed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's very similar to what little kids demonstrate. Little kids are,
Oh, look, look, see,
yeah,
see.
there goes one. Though. The little kids are just, they're such high energy, and if you don't squash it, they're high energy a lot of the time, and it's not like there's no agenda, there's no trying to. I mean, sometimes they're trying to get certain things out of you and so forth, but mostly it's just I want to be high energy.
Right.
We had that the other day when we did the Thanksgiving podcast, and Anne Marie Keegan, or not Anne Marie McEwen, excuse me, was on the show with her granddaughter, and her granddaughter was just like almost indescribable how much joy was coming out of her. I mean, she was behaving like a kid does, making faces and all that kind of stuff. But you could practically see the rays of energy coming out of her because there are no barriers in the way. There are no resistances built up because she's such a young kid. She's so recently been connected to source energy in a big, big way, and she's still maintaining that connection. And it was just like a reinforcement. Wow, little kids are such great teachers for us. They just
Yeah.
teach us, here's what's going on. This is life right now. Screw
Right.
all that other stuff. This is
They're
it. This is
they're
life.
mirroring our true nature.
Yeah, they
So we
are.
can ask the universe, how can I return back to that enthusiastic child who just knew I was great and awesome and I can do anything I want to do?
So, here comes my cat. He's climbing into my lap right
Yeah.
now as we're
Oh,
talking. Yeah.
he wants to validate it all. Yeah.
See, we'll bring the camera on him. There he is right there.
Cute. Hello.
But yeah, pets, little kids, anybody who has a high connection, it's the same effect as what I get when I'm walking along, and then all of a sudden people are reacting big to me, and I don't know why. It's because I had this smile on my face that I didn't know it. I'm energizing all this energy and I didn't know it.
Right.
Just responding to that. It's a
Just being.
wonderful experience,
Yeah.
both as the giver and the receiver.
In fact, I think that came up in the energy reading I did too, because it's like the little kid who is playing whatever game and they're pretending to be whatever they are, whether they're pretending to be this horse or this unicorn or a doctor or a teacher, they
Hmm.
are 100% it.
That's right.
They're nothing but it. They're
Yeah,
just being it.
exactly.
Right there, right then, in present time. I mean, that's us. We just forgot. So now we have to, bring
Yep.
ourselves back to that.
We have to remember.
Yeah. That's why I would advise everybody listening to get an access bars session from, and because it has to be an in-person session. So I can only do that with people who are in my local area,
Okay.
and that would be in Tenafly, New Jersey.
Hmm.
Um, because you have to touch spots on the head. The person just lays there. You just touch these different points on the head, these bars, and it literally is just releasing stuff that is not supporting you. Like
Mm.
just making space for you to be you,
Hmm.
present and you, like that 2-year-old kid
Right.
you used to be, right?
Yep.
Just getting rid of all that programming that has been kind of dumped in there, not even just from this lifetime, from whenever. Um, it's really pretty amazing stuff. So I would say find someone,
My cat is giving
have
my
it
hand a
done.
bath right now. This is the most affectionate cat I've ever seen. Literally, this guy, he is the only male cat I've ever seen that will groom a female cat.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, really unusual. And he does it all the time. If I let him go, he will lick my skin raw. That's how much attention he'll give trying to give affection.
Yeah.
And he especially likes to do it if I've been petting him for a certain amount of time because he feels like I have to give some of this back.
Yeah, and their tongues are rough.
Oh,
Cat.
they are, yeah.
Yeah.
Although he is capable of giving what Louise and I call kitty kisses, where he's just touching us with the tip of the tongue so we don't get the
Oh,
rough
that's
part. Yeah.
see how nice he is, how
He
thoughtful.
is. He's a very thoughtful cat.
I'm wondering if I should pick out one more card.
Sure, why not?
Let's see.
We got a few minutes.
Oh,
Well, while you're doing that, I'll also get our promos done too. Remind people who are not yet subscribers to become subscribers of the podcast. And it's so easy to do. Just go to the homepage of our website, loatoday.net, and right at the top of the page, you'll see instructions on how to do it. Usually takes a click or two, sometimes 3 or 4, depending on your device. But once you do it, all of our episodes come streaming live and free to your device every single time that we publish them. And also check us out on YouTube, where Nashia and Jeffrey are watching us while we're recording this right now. That's where we live stream to. And you can subscribe there as well. Click the little bell to get notified. But make sure that you're subscribed so you're getting all these shows. And I know most of you are. I mean, the numbers are way, way up. They continue to grow. And I'm just hoping that the people who might be seeing this for the first time are going to join us. So if you're not yet subscribed, please do join us.
yeah. I'd say even go to the YouTube page, even if you were just listening in your car, and ask them questions.
Yeah, sure.
Put them in there in the comments, because we'll come back to those, and we can make a whole show around maybe somebody's question.
We've done that, sure. We've also done it with people who contact us through the contact form on the website, or people who reach out through Facebook or whatever. I mean, any way that you reach us, you bring up a question, I guarantee you're going to get more information than you expected. That happened with the last person who sent something in. His name was Jeff. He's actually doing some travel in the Nepal area. But he asked a question, and I wrote back to him pretty quickly, and he was shocked at, first of all, how quickly I got back, and second of all, how detailed my answer was. And then we talked about his stuff on the next show. So you'll get plenty of attention on your question. Don't worry about that. It's not like you're going to get ignored. It's not going to happen.
Okay, so I went to the angel deck. I haven't used it in a while. It used to be one of my favorites. I used to pull every day from this card, this
Mm-hmm.
deck. So this one's Blessings in Disguise.
Ah, okay.
So
Nice cards today. I love the topics. Really, just very upbeat topics.
that was fun. You've been working with your decks. You got some decks, right?
Um, well, I just got a deck as
Oh,
a
gifts.
Christmas
Gifts.
present.
Right,
Shh,
right, right.
like a little
I forgot.
Christmas present for
Okay,
Louise.
okay.
Yeah,
I'll
so
let
she
her
doesn't
listen
know
to
yet.
the show.
Yeah.
Right, so blessings in disguise. What appears to be a problem is actually part of your answered prayer. You'll understand the reasons behind your present situation as everything resolves. Trust in heaven's protection and infinite wisdom to answer your prayer in the best way. So
Mm,
we talked a little bit about that when we were speaking to Nasha, with having some
right.
stuff that she had earlier. I mean, a while back. Okay, so it says the angels sent you this card to help you to recognize the blessings in the midst of an apparent challenge. What you've appeared to have lost needed to fall away and will be replaced with something even better. Have no fear for your future, but continue praying and following the guidance that comes to you through repetitive feelings, thoughts, visions, and words. Cool. So
Very
it
good.
gives these additional meanings. So I'm just going to read them because they're there.
Okay.
It says, one door closes, another one opens.
Mm,
The how is up to God with respect to the best way to answer your prayers. Release the need to control and predict the outcome to the situation and just trust, which to me goes right to just asking questions without having to know the answer.
that's right.
What's going
And
on?
that's something we haven't talked about a lot on the show lately. Leaving the house behind. But it's a big topic, and we should probably be revisiting it again. It's
Yeah.
so easy for us to get into that place of trying to figure out, well, how is this going to work? How can this possibly play out? I can't see how it's going to play out, so that means it can't play out. So therefore, I'm now putting resistance in the way that says it can't play out, and
Yeah.
that's the problem with hows,
I think we
because we
did
usually.
touch on that on the last call, the last show we had like 3 weeks ago, because we're off for a bit. But yeah, the universe will just answer your questions. So, but when we want to, like you're saying, we try to figure it out. We
Hmm.
only know what we hold in on our mind, which is very limited.
It's
I mean,
true.
it's an unlimited universe. And we did that exercise to feel your energy expand out,
Hmm.
right? We're so much bigger than that information that's held in this brain that thinks it knows best. Because if it knew best, we wouldn't have the problem, would we?
True, and interestingly enough, in one sense, it does know best because it's trying to protect us, it's trying to keep us safe. But in another sense, if we're allowing that keep us safe thing to be a block to prevent us from experiencing that larger self that we really are, then it's kind of overreaching its need. It's going beyond what
Right.
it needs to be doing.
So if we actually tap into our bodies and our intuition and like, okay, is this something that I really need to be concerned about? Does it feel lighter or heavier? Right?
Mm. Hmm.
Because yeah, that the mind, thank God we have our mind.
Yes.
But the thing is, we don't want to rely on it for every single thing because it does limit us because we only know so much information. And a lot of it is not even our own information. It's information we picked up from out there, right?
Yes.
That's why it's always getting back to you and allowing that expansion and just asking the universe for these questions so that the answers can come in. The inspiration will come. And
Hmm.
then you feel it. You're like, oh, wow, that's a great idea. I never thought of that before. Boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom. You can't wait to get it done.
Right.
You're like that 2 year old who's enthusiastic about doing these steps instead
Yes.
of like, okay, let's see. All right, well, I have to, okay, I did step two. Now I got to do freaking step three. I don't want to do step three, but that's how it's supposed to be done because
Mm.
all the experts say so,
Yep.
right?
Right.
What if we are our own expert and we allow
Yeah.
ourselves to be that? And what if we were to release everything that stops us and prevents us from knowing that we know best?
Very cool. That's a
Yeah.
good way to draw the show to a close. By the way, you mentioned that one therapy that can only be done. It's a touch therapy that can only be
Access
done locally.
bars.
Access bars.
Yeah, if you go to accessconsciousness.com, you can learn lots of cool stuff. There's videos after videos. Um, you can watch videos and clear crap just by listening on the video because I do this clearing process,
Okay.
which maybe I'll explain on another show.
Okay.
just based on what I know about it so far. Um,
Well, it sounds like you're enthusiastic about it, so it must be pretty
yeah,
good.
I really want to go further with this stuff and learn more and more about it. But I've seen the effect that it has on people with that I've been working with so far and how they feel different, you know?
Mm,
Like
that's good.
I gave my brother-in-law a session yesterday, and today he's like, "How am I supposed to feel after that?" I'm like, "However you feel. There's no right, wrong. There's just whatever it is." He goes, "Some reason I'm like really confident,
Ooh.
like more confident than I've ever been." He's moving now to England,
Ah, yes.
and he's like, I didn't feel like that way the day before." I'm like, "Okay, well that's good."
That's fabulous.
No expectation, just you just feel things. I mean, there are people who have had major things happen for them in just one session. But it's kind of thing you do more and more of because you just there's so much we need to let go of to return back to our truth, to be
Mm.
more like that little 2-year-old, who
Yeah, right.
doesn't think he could do anything wrong, who
Yep.
even when the big person tells them they're doing it wrong, they're like, yeah, right.
Which they are very good at doing.
But after a
So,
while, we lose that because we
mm,
get punished because we didn't do it the way they thought we should do it, or what,
yeah,
just
yeah.
a cycle. Yeah.
Access consciousness and access
Access
bars.
bars.
I'll have
Yeah.
to look that up. So that sounds good. And in the last few seconds we have left on the show, remind people how to reach out and find you online.
Yeah. Go to lovemylife.coach. Everything about me is on there. Lots of different pages, all sorts of things you can do. YouTube channel. Yeah, I don't do too much with social media. Like, I don't know, I've been kind
You
of
do
off
plenty
of it.
with YouTube. You don't need to do the social media. You've got so much on that YouTube channel. It's crazy.
I actually hadn't done a video in a couple of weeks. It was really a long time for me not to do a video,
Mm,
but I wasn't inspired to it, so I didn't force myself. It's like,
sure.
okay,
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
that's the way to go. You go with
yeah,
what feels good. So thank you very much. Thank you for all your wonderful insights as usual. They all hit the mark. Look at those cards you pulled today. I mean,
yeah.
fabulous. Absolutely just hit it perfectly. So thank you much. Thanks, live streamers. We appreciate you too. And especially thank you to all of our regular podcast listeners as well. We'll see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.